Hey guys, this is gonna be a map chat on Malinovka, starting from the south, um, with TDs. At the very start of the spawn, some of the best places to go with tank destroyers is right here on F8 area, um, or actually more E8, and getting ready to fire up onto the hill. Now it's really dependent on your mediums. If your mediums or heavies are rushing for hill, then sitting here should give you a good chance to spot anything going up the hill on the enemy side or sitting in this area. You just have to be aware if you get spotted, you'll get shot from this area pretty easily. It also gives you shots on anything that tries to rush down behind these buildings. So it's a pretty solid spot. Any TDs that are like 268 that have lots of camo, you could try moving up to the F7 area and getting up onto the hill behind the bushes and waiting for stuff to get spotted, either in their base in this area or in this area right here as they push up and try to sit at the top of this hill to shoot across. Um, it's also probably one of the strongest, if not the best areas to for TDs to sit in would be just any area really over in this area. Sitting out here is a little bit more dangerous because it's easily lit from tanks up here or tanks right here. So you definitely either want to be in the trees right here or in the bushes right here. That way you're far enough not to get lit and you are protected by the bushes. So two best areas. If you don't have any tanks pushing up onto the hill, then you definitely want to be in these trees to get ready to shoot things coming down the hill or things that are peek over to get to spot you. Now, as far as it goes, base, if they rush into base and try to get into this area, it's honestly better to be back either behind this windmill or behind these buildings than it is to be up front. Being up front puts you in a position to get shot from this area and from all their base. So I don't really ever go up front behind these buildings at the very beginning. Just for the simple fact that in a TD, you're pretty much stationary as far as to what direction you can look at. And turning your whole tank makes it very hard to not get shot from either their base or over here or through the windows and whatnot. So I would stay either behind the windmill or behind the buildings and get ready for them to push out because being right here, even though they're spotting stuff, they're not really doing much more than that than spotting. If you stay back here, they can't really spot you, and by the time they do get up high enough to spot you, you're gonna have a shot on them. So staying back behind the windmill and the buildings, best case scenario. I definitely wouldn't camp there because everything you could do from the base, you can do from back here. Uh, but being back here also lets you shoot up onto the hill if you need to. So that's my opinions on tank destroyers. Moving on to light tanks. There's quite a few options you have when it comes to light tanks as far as where you want to position and where you want to go. Some of the best positioning you can do at the very beginning, depending on how fast your light tank is rushing across and getting down to this tip. Now it's another high risk, high reward spot. You could die trying to get across and getting over there, or you could die even being in there because their mediums could rush down and take you out. So it's one of those things that you want to be careful and be wary about. If they have, if you start getting right here and you spot a bunch of mediums in this area, I wouldn't do it. I would just drop down into this area and go back around. Um, but in some cases, it could work nicely. Another spot is behind bushes on the G6 area. Sitting behind the bushes, I wouldn't go up and past this area on the field. You can see that kind of darker line right there, which I'll demonstrate right with that. I wouldn't go past this area at all. But being right there will let you spot into the base and some tanks that are pushing up right here. It's really good at the very beginning. I wouldn't stay there an entire game, but at the very beginning to get a couple spots off for a couple minutes. Then I would immediately back out and either go up onto this hill right here to spot tanks as they try to push up into this area, or spot tanks, as they sit back in this area. So transitioning from G6 to F7 after a couple minutes is definitely your best bet. After that, if there's no action on the hill at all, meaning that they're not pushing up on the hill. Your next best bet is to push around north, go along the wall, and get into behind the rocks over here, and try to light tanks onto the church and everything else. Tanks over here, tanks over there, and try to light them. Stay behind the rock. Understand that you can get hit from this entire area, artillery as well. But that's your best bet. Now, going up top is also an option, but I would say if there's no bat chats or really fast mediums on their side, that's when you want to do it. If they have fast tanks on their side, it's probably not the best idea. But if none of their mediums are really fast, they're all like 62As or E50s and stuff, getting up here real quick just to get a quick spot to see what's coming up there, then running away back down it is also a good option early on. That's pretty much what you want to do in a light tank. Now, if you're losing hill completely and there's nothing you can do about it, sitting, picking a bush that's sort of up front where you can spot the hill is also a good idea as well. Just to passively spot everything that tries to push over and peek and light them so your team can shoot them. All right, moving on to medium tanks. Medium tanks fall in the same category. Absolutely great tanks to rush across right there and get into this area to light with. 140s, anything decently fast in the medium line will do really well here. You'll be able to battle out the other mediums that try to come there as well. Understand, like I said, you could die before you even get there, or you could die by something pushing in on you, or multiple things pushing in on you. But if you can make that spot work, you can keep all these guys lit, then immediately push up and around. And it usually works out really well because most of your tanks that are sitting back here are sitting in this area. They're not going to have much to hide behind, and all their attention will be directed at you. And you might even hold some of their heavies from pushing up the hill. So it's a good spot. High risk, high reward. Now, for the most part, when I'm in a medium, I rush to take hill. I find hill very, very important on this map, especially when you're south spawn. Their north side is a lot easier to penetrate once you take hill, compared to being north and attacking south from the hill. But attacking north from the hill, pretty reliable, pretty easy to do. So as a medium, getting up the hill really quick and either getting behind the windmill that's up there or getting behind the hill and spotting and fighting whatever tries to push up and take kill is always probably one of the best things you could do. If nothing pushes up, you can get behind the bushes and trees right here and try to spot stuff in this area or over here, then take shots as it tries to push up or back up or whatever it is, and take shots and take your time. You don't have to rush hill. You got plenty of time. Just make sure you want it beforehand. Then after that, pushing down into this area behind these rocks to try to get lights for your team that are on hill is also a good option. Then eventually pushing up to the church, or vice versa, pushing down this way and getting into this area right here behind the hill on C5, and just always stay moving, lighting what's in this area, lighting what's in this area. All right, so that's pretty much that. Now for heavies. Heavies pretty much hill. Just go hill, stay hill. If your mediums lose hill, or they have a bunch of mediums up on hill, then obviously it's probably a better idea for you to stay back here. But if you have enough heavies, pushing hill and taking hill is, obviously important. That's pretty much what you're going to do on this map. Sitting anywhere else in a heavy is a complete waste of your time. Sitting back at base is a complete waste of your time. You have enough TDs that don't really have much to do in most cases, and mediums, where it's best just to attack hill and take hill. All right, so that's pretty much it for heavies. Heavies follow the same thing. Once you went hill, you can either push down behind the rocks or push down right here. Either way, that's pretty much what you want to do. All right, so let's get ready to do north now. All right, from north, light tanks. Again, just like the other side, you could rush at the very beginning and push down and get into this area to light. It's definitely much easier from the defensive side because all they need to do is rush something down in there and get you. But again, like I said, it's another high risk, high reward spot. Coming to E4 area, I'm hiding behind this bush right there. Is always a strong spot because it'll give you lights and everything at the very beginning of the game that's in this area, which would make it easier for your team to pick off. So you'll just sit behind the bush and pass with scout. Then after a couple minutes, you'll move up to the bush on this corner and light from that corner. And again, if they don't have any fast mediums rushing up onto the hill to get lights down here, to maybe scare them off of pushing the hill is always a good idea. But just don't stay there. Push back out when once everything gets lit and get down, and go back to either spotting in the middle or at the very mid part of the game. You could push in to this area and get behind the rocks. So pretty much the same. That's pretty much what you want to do in the light tank. Tank destroyers. Again, I don't really think it's a good idea in a tank destroyer to stay back here. Unless your mediums push up and it's time, for you to shoot the tanks that are across, then do that. Then eventually you need to push across to the bottom, follow the road, get into base. When there's very few other tank destroyers after tanks sitting in base. That's what you'll have to do. Most of the time, though, you want to be in the middle area up here, somewhere in this area, general vicinity, to fight their tanks and shoot their tanks that are going up the hill early on. After that, moving between the tree line or moving between the tree line and base, it's all up to you. I wouldn't really put any tanks in the middle other than light tanks, or maybe some mediums, but that's about it. All right, moving on to mediums. Again, you can push across. Same risk, same high risk, high reward deal. Majority of the time, though, taking hill is your best bet. Once you do take hill and you win hill, spotting from the tree line up here. So always a great choice. Understand, Guardy sees you. Just got to keep moving back and forth. Then eventually you want to push down. Don't ever push directly down like this and go directly down into the tree line. You want to get around the corner, come down to this side, and get behind the hill that's right here. And then peek over the hill and spot the stuff that's in there. That eventually, once it gets to the point, you can either push down this way to the next hill, or you could push around into this way and get behind the rock over here, or behind dead tanks right there. So there's that. And heavy tanks, again, I don't really think heavy tanks belong anywhere but up on the hill. Once you do take hill, they can fall back around and try to push the middle as well as from hill. But for the most part, you want to do the same thing. You win hill, push down this way, get to the middle area, take out the rest of their tank spot, and then push in. And that's pretty much it. I hope that pretty much covers everything. Hope that helps you guys. Enjoy.